Illustration 5. Journalize the following transactions of Mrs. Time Zone and post them into the ledger. Let me first pass journal entries for this one by one. You also try with me. Post your answers in the chat box also. On 1st December, business started with cash. On 1st December, the journal entry will be cash account debit to capital. Cash account debit to capital. Okay. The value being 1,20,000. 1,20,000. On 2nd December, opened a bank account with ICICI. Opened bank account. Happens on 2nd December. Opening bank account, the entry is very simple. Bank account debit to cash account. Bank account debit to cash account. The value being 4 lakhs. Sorry, 40,000 rupees. Okay, 40,000 rupees. And on 4th December, goods purchased for cash rupees 12,000. 4th December, goods purchased for cash. Entry being purchases account debit to cash. To cash. This value being 12,000. This value being 12,000. On 10th December, paid cartage. So the entry for this being cartage account debit to cash. Cartage account debit to cash. The value being 500. The value being 500. December 12th, goods sold on credit to Mrs. Lara India. Credit sales, then party's name should be debited here. The date of transaction being 12th December. Lara India, Mrs. Lara India, debit to sales. To sales. This value being 25,000. 25,000. 14th December, cash received from Mrs. Lara India 10,000. Out of 25,000, a part is received from Lara. So the entry for receipt of cash from Mrs. Lara being cash account debit to Lara. The date of transaction being 14th December. So cash account debit to Mrs. Lara. Mrs. Lara. The value being 10,000. The value being 10,000. 16th December. 16th December, goods returned from Lara India. See, we sold for 25,000. A part payment is there. Another part is not fit for the usage. So return 3,000 rupees, which is nothing but sales return. Happened on 16th December. So 16th December, sales return should be debited. Sales return debited to Lara. Mrs. Lara India. The value being 3,000. The value being 3,000. On 18th December, paid trade expenses rupees 700. So in 18th December, paid trade expenses. Debit the trade expenses and the cash. Trade expenses account debit to cash. The value being 700. The value being 700. December 19th, goods purchased on credit from Tarunam So purchase account debit to the party's name as it's a credit purchases happen on 19th. Purchases account debit to Taranam. Okay. The value being 32,000. 32,000. On 20th December, check received from Mrs. Lara India for final settlement 11,500 and deposited on the same date into the bank. Here Lara India, to whom we sold for 25,000, 10,000 was already collected, 3,000 worth goods unfit for usage is returned. Balance amount recoverable from him after subtracting these two value being 12,000. Out of that 12,000 rupees, we received 11,500 as first final settlement. Final settlements means hereafter we don't get balance amount. So the difference between 12,000 and 11,500 will be assumed to be their discount allowed. So we have allowed them to get the discount 500 rupees. That's how you can assume. And that too, the payment received by way of check. So you can now charge or debit to the bank account here, 20th one. So 20th one. On December 20th, bank account debit. The value being 11,500. Discount allowed. Debit 500 rupees to Mrs. Lara India. Messrs. Lara India. Okay, 12,000. 22nd, December 22nd, goods returned to Taranam, 1,500. So from Taranam we purchased for how much? 32,000 rupees. Okay, so here Lara over 32,000. Out of that, 1,500 rupees worth of goods unfit is returned. This is purchase return. So on the date of this transaction being 22nd, purchase return and should be credited. Purchases should be debited, purchase return should be credited. So Taranam, okay, account debit to purchase return. The value being 1,500. 1,500. 24th December, paid for stationery 1,200. Okay, expenses. I assume that the payment made by way of cash. So on 24th, stationery account debit to cash. The value being 1,200. 1,200. December 26, check given to Taranam on account 20,000. Check given to Taranam on account. Okay, 20,000 rupees. So the entry for that being payment, right? On 26th, Taranam account debit. The amount of settlement here being 20 by way of check. So I have to credit the bank account here 20,000. Out of 32,000 rupees, 20,000 rupees is now paid by way of check. On 28th, paid rent by check. On 28th, right, rent is paid, that too by way of check. So you have to credit the bank account. So rent account debit to bank account. Rent account debit to bank. This value being 4,000. And on 29th, drew cash for personal use 10,000 rupees. Personal use should always be debited to the drawings account. So I am going to debit drawings account to cash. 29th. Okay, drawings account debit to cash. Drawings account debit to cash. This value being 10,000. 10,000. On December 30, cash sales. On December 30, cash sales. We received the cash, so I am debiting the cash account debit to sales. The value being 12,000. 12,000. On 31st December, goods sold to Mrs. Rubak Traders for rupees 11,000. If the sales are purchases with the name is given, and if you are not aware about whether it's a cash and credit, it's always assumed to be the credit transaction, so it's credit sales. It is credit sales. On 31st. Is that okay? The entry being Mrs. Rubak Traders, Mrs. Rubak account debit to sales. So if you are strong with the journal entry preparation from the earlier working, now our focus is only to post that into the ledger account. So that will be the main thrust in illustration number 5. So I have completed posting the journal entries. This is called journalizing. After completing the journalizing, the next segment is posting that into the ledger. Is that okay? Ledger posting. So let's see here. Ledger posting. We have debit and credit side for each and every account. Ledger book consisted of various accounts, right? Here I am going to classify all these things. Right? Yeah, 1 second. Let's start one after one. The first account here being cash. So I opened the cash account. So this is ledger book. In that ledger book, the first account I am going to open here is cash account. The value is 1,20,000 given in the debit. So I put that value in the debit side, mentioning that as 2 capital 1,20,000. In the second journal entry, cash is in the credit side, so I will put that value in the credit side by stating the other's name, the other account name, by bank. This value being 40,000. Fourth one, cash is in the credit side. In the credit side, I have to write again by purchases. This value being 12,000. On 10th December, cash is in the credit side. So by cartage, payment is for the cartage. The value being 500. On 14th December, cash is in the debit side. So to Mrs. Lara, I put only L representing Lara, 10,000. Then 18th, cash is in the credit side by trade expenses. This value being 700. And then where we have the cash. On 24th December, we have the transaction for cash. Cash is in the credit side. Buy stationery will be recorded. So buy stationery payment for the stationery 1200. 1200. Then 29th drawings is there, should also be posted by drawings here. By drawings, the value being 10,000. The value being 10,000. On 30th, two sales. Debit side, no, the cash is in the debit side. So in debit side, I have to write the opposite account name, which is sale, 12,000 rupees. As such, now I have posted all the items available for the cash account. Now I am going to tally this. Tallying is pretty simple. Add up the total of these two sides and hope the total will be higher in the debit side. So I will put that value here. The total value being 120 plus 10 plus 12, 1,42,000. 1,42,000. Of course, in this question, they have asked only to post, not tallying. Anyhow, I'll just go for tallying also. Balance carried on. Balance carried on. The balancing figure being balance carried on. Okay. $64,400 is the credit side total. 77,600 is the balancing value. Okay, this is 10,000. Okay, 77,600. Now I'll rewrite here as balance brought down. Balance brought down. 77,600. Next, we will go for the capital account. Open the capital account here in the debit side. Buy cash. Buy cash in the credit side. Sorry, in the credit side, buy cash. This value being 1,20,000. That's all. We don't have any other transaction, so leave it as it is. Now let's go for the bank account. Bank account. In bank account, the opposite item 2 cash. 2 cash. The value being 40,000. And do we find the bank any other place? On 20th, we have the transaction for bank to Mrs. Lara. Okay, Mrs. Lara. I'll just put L only. 11,500. 11,500. And 28th, rent is in the credit side. So there, bank is in the credit side. So I have to write the buy rent in the bank account. So buy rent in the credit side. The value being 4,000. So we have completed all. So I am not going to tally, as the question is also about posting only. I have illustrated by tallying the first one, not the rest of the things. Hope so you could now understand this one. Yeah. So we have one more thing. In 26th, to bank in the credit side, then buy Tarunam. Okay. Buy Taranam. Okay. The value being 20. I leave it as it is. Now let's go for the purchases account. Purchases account to cash. To cash. This value being 12,000. This value being 12,000. Again, we have purchases in the 19th transaction to Taranam. I just put Tara, 32,000. And that's all. Purchases are only these two entry. We'll now move on to the next one. On 10th December, we have Cartage. So I open Cartage account here. Cartage. In Cartage, to cash. To cash. That's all. No more transaction here. The value being 500. Again we have Tara, right? Yeah, good. 22nd also we have Tara. Okay, but I'm talking about the cartage, no? So I'm recording. This is purchase return. In 22nd we have purchase return. It's not purchases, right? Clear. Now I'll open Mrs. Lara. Mrs. Lara India. Two sales. The value being 25,000. And on 16th, on 14th, a part of amount is paid by cash, 10,000 rupees, by cash, 10,000 rupees. And 16th, there's a return by sales return, 3,000. And on 20th, another part payment is finished and we allowed them to pay the discounted value. So Lara, in the credit side 12,000, in the credit side 12,000, the amount should be the opposite, the term should be the opposite account, bank account as well as discount allowed account. Bank account being 11,500, discount allowed being 500. So with that, the Lara account got completely closed. Anyhow, I'm not going to tally. If I tally, then the balance will be 0. Let's move on to the next one. After Lara, there is a sales account. So sales account, sales. In sales account by Mrs. Lara, the value being 25,000. On 16th, okay, that one is sales return. So I want to have another sales. On 31st December, we have sales. Mrs. Rupak Trader. Mrs. Rupak Trader. The value being 11,000. Sales is over. Now on 16th, we have sales return. So I'm opening the sales return ledger account here. Sales return. In sales return ledger account, Mrs. Lara, to Mrs. Lara will be taken, to Mrs. Lara, or simply L, 3,000 rupees. And on 18th we have trade expenses. Okay, to cash. This value being 700. On 19th we have Taranam. So Taranam account by purchases. This value being 32,000. And on 22nd also we have Taranam, to purchase return. The value being 1,500. And on 26th, the payment is there to bank, to Taranam. So to bank here, the value being 20,000. So with that, Taranam is over. Then the unticked item in the first column is over. Second column, discount allowed, is also one more account. Discount allowed. To Mrs. Lara. Okay, the value being 500. And we have purchase return. Purchase return by Taranam. By Taranam. Tara, I simply put the word as Tara here, 1500. And we have stationery. Stationery. I put the value here, stationery. To cash. To cash. The value for the stationery here being 1200. 1200. And then we have rent account. Okay, rent account. To bank. To bank. This value being 4000. This value being 4000. And still we have drawings and Rubik account. So I'll just open the drawings account here. Drawings account. Okay. I use this way. Drawings account. In drawings account, to cash. To cash. The value being 12,000. And sales, I think already posted this. Okay, then I missed. I had to post this now. By cash. By cash. In cash, sales account was already open but left to be posted, so I am posting that. Now we have Rubik account. Rubik account. Let's see here. I'll write it down here. Rubik account. Rubik account, right. To sales. To sales, the value being 11,000. Clear?